I used to log in to Google Ads 15 times a day just to answer simple questions like, how is my campaign performance doing? Now I just text the bot and get an instant answer. Let me show you how you can build this in under 1 hour with N8N, Google Ads, and Telegram. So this is my chatbot on Telegram. I'll show you how to look at performance on an account in November 2025. I will type in show me performance in November 2025. I press enter, give it a few seconds, and then it will automatically show me the campaign performance. But it's brilliant how it just comes up like this, and you can see here's your Google Ads performance summary of November 2025. Active campaigns, 2 of 4 are running, and it gives you the top performer, and it gives you the clicks, impressions, the cost, the click-through rate, conversions, and the cost per conversions. And it also gives me the other campaign as well. So again, the same things apply, and it gives me an overall view, and it tells what campaigns are being paused. The good thing is it gives you some key insights as well. So if you're on the call with a client and you don't want to be fumbling around looking at reports, just get this information up, and then you can share the screen or just read off from what Telegram is saying. And you can see from the key insights, strong performance highlights for new campaign hire is your standout performer with an exceptional click-through rate of 29.10%. Your total conversions, got 14 across active campaigns with a combined spend in November of $246.77. So areas for attention. So it gives you a click-through rate score, and also it says it's much lower and it has higher cost per click. So it gives you some insights of what you should focus on. And also it just shows that 2 campaigns are currently paused with a potential of missing some opportunities there. And it gives you some recommendations as well. So consider reallocating budget towards high performing venue high campaign, or investigate why confidence room campaign has a much lower engagement. So this is what I'm going to show you today, so you can build this into your Telegram and N8N reporting, and it gives you some quick insights instead of having to go into Google Ads, and all the information is there for what you need to get. So to build this, you'll need an account for N8N. Also, you'll need a Google Ads account. You'll need a Telegram account. You'll also need Claude, and it's going to take around about 1 hour of your time to build this. But also, instead of building it, I'll leave a link it below so you can just import it directly onto your workflow, so you have it there instead of just need to fill in some of the API keys with your own, and then away you go. So before we dive in further, I'm going to start this tutorial assuming you already have your Google Ads API credentials and your authorization token set up. If you need help with this, I will add another video separately to show you how you can set this up. I just want to show you what the completed workflow looks like, and you can see it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 nodes altogether. It should take around about an hour to build this out. First, we'll be building the Telegram trigger. So the first thing you need to do is open your Telegram account on your laptop or MacBook. If you don't have Telegram already on your MacBook or your laptop, just go to the App Store and download Telegram. So once you have downloaded Telegram, you should be able then to search for BotFarther. And you can do this by going to the search bar, and you can see here I already have that, and you can just put at BotFarther, as you can see here, all together. So I'll just show you at BotFarther, and as you can see, BotFarther comes up, so you can click on that, and you'll then get BotFarther to respond by saying hi, and it says I can help you create and manage Telegram bots. If you're new to the bots API, please see manual. So you can click on there, but what you need to do is type what I have here, /new bot, and it'll say please choose your bot's name. If you want to keep it simple, just name it my Google Ads Assistant. And once you've done that, it's then created. Please remember to use underscores. It'll be like my_Google_Ads_Assistant. Then what will happen is that BotFarther will give you a API token. And this API token is important. So you should copy this entire token and then you can save this into your N8N later once we start building out the Google Ads N8N workflow. After this, you need to get a Telegram chat also. And in order to get your chat ID, you will then need to, again, do a search. So you want to go to at user. Here, this is the one, at user info gets ID. It has around 300,000, 400,000 followers. So you click on that. I have it already up. And then what you'll do is click start, so /start, and then you'll get an ID, you'll get your name and your language. So you need to copy that chat ID. So again, this is a unique address on Telegram that belongs to you. This bot then can send messages to you only. So let's go to build the N8N workflow. So the first thing you need to do is go to n8n.io and either sign up for a account or log in. As I already have an account, I will sign in and then I will sign in from there. So from here, you then create a new workflow, and this new workflow will instantly create, and you can call it name. So at the top here, you can change the name, and we'll call it Google Ads Telegram Chatbot, and I'll just put in brackets YouTube because this is a YouTube tutorial. So basically, N8N is an automation platform that connects everything together. Think of it as a brain that receives your Telegram messages, talks to your Google Ads, and sends answers back. So the first step is to add the Telegram trigger. And we do this by going on here, going to Telegram, and then from there, you choose Telegram trigger on message. We want to choose a message because we are sending messages. What you do is you will then create some new credentials. So I've already got some credentials here, as you can see, and you can click on the pencil next to where it says connect your credentials, and here you'll see your access token. If you can remember what we did before, you should have your access token from Telegram bot, and you should copy and paste the access token in here. In addition, you'll have your base URL, and your base URL is api.telegram.org. And to remember to put that HTTPS behind that as well. And once you are connected, you should see this successfully connected information in the screen box at the top. So we know we are connected. And here it says trigger on, and you can choose message. So choose message on that because obviously you're receiving and sending messages. And so we can add this. So back to canvas to our Telegram trigger here. So now we have built a Telegram messenger. We're going to go on to the next node. So on the next node, you're going to back to your workflow, pressing plus, and then you're going to search for code. And it's going to be code in JavaScript. You can leave these settings the same at the top. Mode's going to be the same. One of the ones for all items and language is obviously JavaScript. And what we'll do is copy and paste this code. And essentially, this node is when a user asks a question, this node is essentially figuring out what the user is asking. And if the user asks for campaign performance keywords or yesterday's performance, this node detects with JavaScript what they are saying and understanding it so it can move on that information to the next node. So essentially, what you'll have is here in the different bits of code, you have like line 4 and below is the kind of query type. So here you can see query type is campaign, line 7. So I want to find out about campaign and I want to find out the search terms in these campaigns. It matches these different queries up in order for the node to understand what you're saying. And it just makes the workflow smarter. It also knows what data to fetch based on what you're asking. So essentially, that is what it does. I'll have this code in the document attached in the descriptions below. So let's move on to the next node, and this is a HTTP request node. So we'll add that into the workflow. So all you do is press plus and then HTTP, and you'll see this node appear. So this node is going to be called Get Access Tokens. So essentially, this is going to access the Google Ads and Google Cloud Console tokens in order to get the information from your Google Ads account. So the first thing we need to do here is, if you look at method, we are going to choose post, and also we're going to add a URL which you can get from your Google Ads API token. And then what we do is, after the URL, you then activate the sender button, and then in the body you'll go to raw, and then in the body parameter you'll then a string with your client ID, your client secret, your refresh token, what you'll get from Google Ads API, because you can get these credentials from Google Cloud Console. Understand where you get these credentials from, get them from your Google Cloud Console. I will do a separate video to this of how you can get these. And also, it's important never to share these credentials with anybody. So I'm just showing some placeholders. Now this node is complete. If you're testing this node and you're still getting some issues, what I found when building out its workflow, I used to get a 401 unauthorization code. So my refresh token may have expired. So I need to regenerate that. Also, you can get an invalid client ID. So you need to check your client ID and client secret are correct. So when you do get these, make sure you store them safe. And also you might get a token expired, which is fine because tokens can be reused. So this is the step for completing node 3, access token code. And now we'll move on to node 4. So this node is node 4, and it's going to be a code node. And this code node, we can rename it to build GAQ query. And you've heard of SQL before, the Google Ads query language before. And essentially what we are building here in this node is an actual database query for Google Ads to understand and use, and we'll create different queries in this node based on what the user has asked. So similar to the last node, we are just going to keep mode the same. One runs for all items, and the language is JavaScript, so we can keep that the same. I'm going to copy and paste my code in here, what I did earlier, and you can use this, which I will add in the description below. So it's copy and paste, that's it. And if you want a brief explanation of how this code works, essentially this is the brain of our workflow. We are pulling in data from the previous node. So the query type, the access token, the user's original question, and the chat ID. And then lines of 13 to 14, this is a library of pre-built GAQL queries, and each query type gets different data, essentially. So your campaign, ad groups, keywords. It looks complicated, but again, you don't need to know the nuts and bolts of this. I'll add this in the description. You can then add that into your workflow. So let's build the next node, node 5. So we're moving on to the next node, and this is going to be node 5, and it's going to fetch Google Ads data. And again, it's going to be the same node as before, HTTP request. And we are going to rename this node because we're going to call it fetch data Google Ads, because this essentially what it is doing. This node is fetching data from Google Ads. So we're actually going to call the Google Ads API with our query, and this is where the magic happens. We're pulling real data from each of the campaign. So based on the method, we are going to use post. And in the URL, you will get like a Google Ads URL, and it's going to be something like this with your customer ID, which you'll get from Google Ads. it's going to be like 5022527423 or something like a bunch of numbers together. Within the authorization section and in the headers, we are going to click headers, and in the fields below, we are going to add in certain authorizations. So we are going to add authorization. So we're authorizing the code, and we're going to add in the bearer in the value equals. So I'm just copy and paste this across. And we're going to add in bearer equals JSON access token. And then we're going to add in another parameter, which is going to be the content type. And in this, we'll add in application JSON. And this is going to be your login details. So customer login. And then it will be something like your customer ID number or your Google Ads ID number. So this is the first section done on Google Ads to fetch data. Then we're going to add a body. So add body. And we're going to enable this. It's going to be JSON. And we are then going to use a query. So we are going to change this to expression. And then we're going to add this JSON in to fetch those queries. That is it for that one. So essentially, the headers uses the access token we got from the previous step, with bearer is the syntax that tells N8N to use that expression. And also you have content type, and the content type is a standard JSON header. And then you have your developer token, which is your Google Ads API developer token. And this is from Google Ads API. You have your customer also login ID number. This is from your manager ID account or your Google Ads account. It tells Google what account to access. So I just want to show you where you can get your customer ID from and your developer token from the API Center inside Google Ads. So all you do is in the top left-hand corner, you will see series numbers, usually 10 numbers, and you remove the dashes when you add that into your workflow. Also, you'll see if you go to admin and then go to API Center, you will see a developer token. And one of the things here, you might not have access to developer token, so you need to apply access. I have standard access. I think first you get basic access, but try and get standard access straight away. And you contact Google with this. I'll give a link below of how you can do this. So you've got that for future reference, and you can also just quickly, easily apply access there. Before I move on to the next node, some of the troubleshooting issues that you might have is that your access token code may be expired or your developer token is wrong, so please double check this. Another one is to check your developer token. It might not be approved yet by Google, or you don't have access to Google Ads API. That is usually one. And also remember, your customer ID could be wrong because you've included the dashes, have no dashes in there. Finally, you might get permission denied error code where your customer login ID might not have access to your client's account. So the next node is going to be another code node. So we'll add in another code node onto the workflow, and it's going to format our data for the code to show. So basically, this code node formats the data for Claude to understand, because raw Google Ads data is very messy. So the first thing is to change the name of the code. So it's going to be format for Claude, and then the mode can be left as it is because it is going to be run only once for all the items, and the language also is JavaScript. So this can be the same. Once you've got the code, copy and paste this in to the JavaScript box, and then this code is done. But this code is really important to make it readable for Claude to understand. So just to give you a quick brief overview, so lines 1 to 3, that grabs the Google Ads data with the user info from the previous node. And then lines 6 to 14, it converts a lot of the data into actual, say, pounds or dollars, and converts, say, decimals into percentages in which Google Ads works from, such as click-through rate has a percentage. So lines 19 to 121 all the way down here It then formats the data in logical order. So it checks what campaign to look for first, such as keywords, campaigns, AdWords or ad groups. And then for each tab, it's formatted differently because they have different fields. So this is a loop through each results, and it creates a format for Claude to understand. So that is node 6 complete. So the next node again is going to be a HTTP request node. So we'll add this in, and we can rename this to Ask Claude because we now are sending our formatted data to Claude AI to analyze the numbers, analyze the trends, and give us some insights into our Google Ads data and feed it back to us in natural language. So we'll use that as a title so we can understand what the node is about. And again, we can change this method from get to post. And then we can use our Claude API URL, which we get from Claude. And then we need to go and add some headers in. So below, we can switch on the header tag. You can keep the headers with the same tab using fields below. In this name, you're going to put your X API key, which is your Claude API key, and you are going to use a string of numbers again, which is from your Claude API. And then in the section below, you're going to add in some more information around your Claude account, Anthropic version, and you're going to add in the date. And then you're going to add in another parameter, add in content type, and we are using JSON as the application. We'll just double check the fields to make sure everything is there. And finally, the last step is to send body. And in the body section, we are going to include JSON, and then we are going to use JSON in this tab. Scroll down and you'll see where you can copy and paste the JSON file. And it is going to look something like this. There we go. So that is it for that node. So essentially, what happens with this node, that Claude receives our data and views a question, then it generates a thoughtful response that answers a question that has been asked by the user. It highlights important metrics, it identifies trends and issues, and it formats everything nicely in Telegram. Just a couple of things to watch out for is to make sure your API key is correct, what you get from Claude. Sometimes, if it's not correct, you might get a response. So we'll move on to the next node. Now we are on node 8 and we are trying to extract the response from Claude so we can extract the actual answer. Now we're going to look at another code node. So if you click on the plus, add code, you can see it's just very similar and it's just adding layers and layers in order to the N8N workflow to work. And we're going to rename the code extract Claude response so you can understand what this node is about. So basically what will happen is Claude will send back a JSON response within the metadata, and we just need to extract the actual text into an answer. So again, quite straightforward to do. All we are doing is adding some JavaScript again, and you can keep mode and language the same in this scenario. So all you need to do is post this code again, which I will add into the description. So this is a straightforward piece of code. So line 1, line 2 is get the Claude full response. Line 6 to line 9 is a response structure that has text in it which contains text. If it exists, it will extract it. If not, it will send us a fallback message. Lines 12 to 13 is our chat ID, and lines 15 to 20 is a return response. So if the return response is true, it brings back the answer to us. That is it for the code node. And now we can go on to the final node, which is send the text message back to us with Telegram. Now we're on to the final node, and this is Telegram. So we are going to add in a Telegram node. Again, we can choose your Telegram account. So it will be your Telegram account, and then it will be message, send message, and then we're in your chat ID. We can just simply add in some JSON text here. and then with your answer or with your results, what you want back. So you want an answer back. So in this field, you add in JSON.answer in the brackets. So in the text field, you add in JSON.answer because you want to get an answer back. And that is it. That is the final bit done. So what this does is sends a final AI generated answer back to the user, and the workflow is now complete. They can ask a question and they'll get an intelligent response back with the real data. If the message is not sending back to you, check to make sure the ID is being passed correctly. And also, if the message is too long, Telegram has a character limit, which is 4096 characters long. So if it's longer than that, it might not come back to you as well. So you'll need to split longer messages or longer answers into 2 messages. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this workflow, this N8N workflow, and this will help you connect your Google Ads account with N8N, with Claude, and you can use Telegram to ask questions about your Google Ads account, and it'll respond back to you immediately with a breakdown of results.